Reading with Marshmallow and Miss Ganskow.
Hi, first grade. We are going to read Tacky the Penguin today by Helen Lester, illustrated by Lynn Munsinger, with permission from Scholastics Incorporated. I hope you guys enjoy the story today. It's one of my personal favorites. There once lived a penguin. His home was a nice icy land he shared with his companions. His companions were named Goodly, Lovely, Angel, Neatly, and Perfect. His name was Tacky. Tacky was an odd bird. Every day, Goodly, Lovely, Angel, Neatly, and Perfect greeted each other quietly and politely. Tacky greeted them with a hearty slap on the back and a loud, "What's happening?" Goodly, Lovely, Angel, Neatly, and Perfect always marched 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Tacky always marched 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 6, 0, 2.5, 0. His companions were graceful divers. Tacky liked to do splashy cannonballs. Goodly, Lovely, Angel, Neatly, and Perfect always sang pretty songs like Sunrise on the Iceberg. Tacky always sang songs like How many toes does a fish have? Tacky was an odd bird. One day the penguins heard the thump, thump, thump of feet in the distance. This could only mean one thing. Hunters had come. They came with maps and traps and rocks and locks, and they were rough and tough. As the thump, thump, thump drew closer, the penguins could hear the growly voices chanting. "We're gonna catch some pretty penguins, and we'll march 'em with a switch, and we'll sell 'em for $1 and get rich, rich, rich." Goodly, Lovely, Angel, Neatly, and Perfect ran away in fright. They hid behind a block of ice. Tacky stood alone. The hunters marched right up to him, chanting, "We're gonna catch some pretty penguins, and we'll march 'em with a switch, and we'll sell 'em for $1 and get rich, rich, rich." "What's happening?" blared Tacky, giving one hunter an especially hearty slap on the back. They growled, "We're hunting for penguins, that's what's happening." "Penguins?" said Tacky. "Do you mean those birds that march neatly in a row?" And he marched. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 0, 2.5, 0. The hunters looked puzzled. "Do you mean those birds that dive so gracefully?" Tacky asked. And he did a splashy cannonball. The hunters looked wet. Oh, they look very wet there. "Do you mean those birds that sing such pretty songs?" Tacky began to sing, and from behind the block of ice came the voices of his companions, all singing as loudly and dreadfully as they could. Now I want you to think before I continue. Why do you think that the other penguins, the pretty penguins, decided to sing so loudly and dreadfully for the hunters, but before they always sang so quietly and neatly? All right, you have that thought? Okay, so now let's see. What do you think is going to happen next? Make that prediction. Put your thinking cap on. "How many toes does a fish have? And how many wings on a cow? I wonder, yup, I wonder." The hunters could not stand the horrible singing, and they could not be in the land of pretty penguins. They ran away with their hands clasped tightly over their ears, leaving behind their maps and traps and rocks and locks, and not looking at all rough and tough. Goodly, lovely angel, neatly and perfect, hugged Tacky. Tacky was an odd bird, but a very nice bird to have around. Mathematicians, let's look at this challenge problem. We want to solve the problem first by read the problem and look at the picture. Solve the problem, use numbers, words, or pictures to show your thinking, and then write our answer. So first, let's read our problem and look at the picture. There were 16 penguins on the ice ledges. Some of them jumped into the water. How many penguins jumped into the water? So looking first at our words, we have 16 is a very important number there. And a phrase to think about, are we taking away, subtraction, or are we adding numbers together by addition? We have some of them jumped into the water. If some jump into the water, we know that we're taking away from the ones that were sitting on the ice ledge. So I'm going to write my subtraction symbol right there, knowing that my number sentence, my thinking needs to have subtraction in there. So we have, now let's look at our picture. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 10 penguins on top. 1, 2, 3 on the bottom. 10 and 3 more is 13. So there's 13 penguins left on the ledge. It says how many penguins jumped into the water. 16 started with. So if I could add on to my picture, or I can put the ones that jumped into the water by counting on. So let's do it both ways. We have 13. I'm going to stop when I get to 16. 14, 15, 16. So there I would have 16 total penguins, and those X's are the ones that really did, they are the ones that jumped off into the water. So we had 3 of them that jumped off into the water. Okay, so we could have 16 minus 3 equals that 13 that they showed us in the picture, knowing that 3 is how many penguins jumped into the water. Okay, so now let's think of it. Let's erase this and think of it as we are taking away. Let's switch. Okay, so if I have 13 here and we had 16, take away that 13. So here I would still need to make the 16 here, and think of these 16, 15. So I took away the 3, and I have 10 on top, 3 on the bottom ledge. These were the 3 that we took away, and that would equal 3. So 16 minus 3 equals 13, and 16 minus 13 equals 3. Okay, so we solved the problem. We used numbers, words, or pictures to show our thinking. We used our pictures within the picture that they gave us, and that is perfectly fine. And write in our answer, 3 penguins jumped into the water. There were some penguins on the ice ledges. 4 of them jumped into the water. How many penguins were on the ice ledges before the 4 jumped in? So let's see how many were on the ledge that they gave us a picture of. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we do have 11 there. There were some penguins on the ice ledges. 4 of them jumped in. So 4 is very important there. They jumped into the water. So jumping into the water, giving you time to think of what operation that would be. Would it be addition or subtraction? That would be subtraction if 4 of them jumped into the water. Okay, so here we had that 11 there. And this is after they jumped in. So we can have minus 11 equals the 4. And we're trying to figure out what was our beginning number. Or we can have what was our beginning number minus 4 equals 11. So here are our subtraction equations. And when we think about this, we're thinking of a number, if we take away 11, would equal 4. Now this number needs to be larger than 11. It needs to be larger than 11 to take away. So we need to think of a number that's larger than 11. If we take away 11 from it, it'll give us 4. And over here, same thing. We want a larger number than 4, but that would give us 11. So one thing that we can do over here with the picture is I'm going to add in the 4 that would have jumped into the water. Because if they jump into the water, they would be in the water and there would be the 11 left over. So I'm going to give you time to think how many penguins were on the ice ledges before the 4 jumped in. All right, let's count them up. So we have 10 on top, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So our answer would be 15 were on the ledge and then the 4 jumped off and we had 11 at the end. 15 there, and these 4 here is 4 more than that bottom because we could cross all of these off. We had the 15 penguins on the ice ledges before the 4 jumped in, and I need to write my answer in there. I am going to give another problem at the very end. I want you to solve that with your parents and feel free. There are some penguins hiding behind the hill, waiting to run out and jump into the water. When they join the 5 penguins in the water, there will be 11 penguins in all. How many are hiding behind the hill? You can pause this video so that you guys can see the picture. Make sure to draw pictures and number equations and send it to me.